Right, I have to sort this out. So I do that, then I can't see what's actually being said on the stream. If anybody's actually looking at the stream, because all of the stuff's on my laptop, and my laptop's over there. Hello, everybody who's watching. 4 people watching already. Hello, hello. I've done one of these for a while. Hopefully the internet is okay. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to everybody. Sorry. Oh my gosh, sorry. Oh, this has even come off now. What a disaster. Oh dear. Oh. If I was a proper YouTuber, I'd have some sort of whole screen that I could put. Oh dear. and sort all this out now, but it's this is a disaster. Look at this. It's just completely fallen off. Oh dear. Bear with me 1 second. So why are you turning the sound off just for a second so I don't annoy you all? Right. Sorry to everybody who's just tuned in for those 2 minutes to watch me set my microphone up. How very unprofessional of me. I can only apologise. Basically, what happened is I've been sitting here for half an hour or so just messing around with this new little mic stand that I've got, because I've realised yesterday, watching back through a couple of videos, that the sound quality was slightly off, and that's because the microphone's down on the floor pretty much. So I thought I'd get something that's at mouth volume. It was all set up ready. Then I just noticed that the camera was slightly to the wrong side, and yes, so I thought I'd set it all up properly there. So anyway, yeah, so I thought we'd think about the predicted 11. I listened to Tim Spears last night and Nathan Judah's podcast. I listened to the 77 Club this morning. I sort of alluded to it in my own video last night as well, but I think it's worth discussing, because for the first 10 or so games of the season, Nuno didn't make any changes whatsoever. However, since the last international break, probably, we haven't had a consistent lineup. There's been an awful lot of changes, particularly in midfield. I think Tim Spears says something like the last 7 games we haven't had the same centre midfield pairing, which is quite remarkable, really, considering how consistent the 11 was at the beginning of the season. That's something that is perhaps a concern. So, thinking about that, then we've got a couple of predictions in the comment section there, or in the chat there. So if you want to put your predicted 11 in, then please join in. We've got Matt, who's gone Ruddy, Dendonka, Cody, John. He's one of the youth players. Johnny, Neves, Gibbs-White, Vinagre, Jota, Bonatini, and Traore. Chris said that he wouldn't start Traore. I don't see why we keep starting him. I believe he's better as an impact player, and to be honest, I think we should loan him out and we'll get some more experience. Well, he's had quite a lot of experience playing in the Premier League with Aston Villa and Middlesbrough, and playing a whole season in the Championship with Middlesbrough. So I don't think it's a question of experience. I think it's a question of intelligence with with Traore, which is quite a big problem when you've paid £18 million for somebody. I can't remember who was telling me, but apparently at Middlesbrough, he was always playing on the wing of the dugouts, just so that they could give him instructions all the time. That's a professional footballer, not an 8-year-old down the park. You know, you can't have somebody whose position is by the dugout. That's but we're not here to talk about Traore. We could do Traore another day. Somebody mentioned, Brian has mentioned just there, when is Wolves Wednesday coming back? Do you know what? We'll go for this Wednesday, shall we? We'll start back. If this stream is working well and the internet's working fine and it's clear and everybody can hear me and everything, then we'll go for Wednesday. And we'll try and do it every Wednesday, because Finners has he's taken the crown already for streaming on YouTube every week. Yeah, so let's have a look. Brian has then gone for Ruddy, Bennett, Cody, Dendoncker, Doherty, Vinagre, Neves, Gibbs White, Traore, Jota, Jimenez. Chris alludes to Traore coming through the Barcelona academy as well there. That's very true as well. But he also didn't make it at Barcelona, which tells you a little bit as well. Nathan says Ruddy, Vinagre, Doherty or Burr, as in Oscar Burr Rasmussen. Sace, Cody, Bolly, Dendoncker, Gibbs White, Bonatini, Jota, Costa. Yeah, that's Ruddy. Sorry, Tim. It looks like TMPK has gone for 3 in midfield needed against Liverpool's formation. So he's changing the 3-4-3 tactic, or variations of it that Wolves have played in the recent weeks. Ruddy, Dendoncker, Cody, Bolly, Doherty, Vinagre, Sace, Gibbs White, Neves, Jimenez, Traore. I think he's the first person. Oh no, Brian also picked Jimenez in his team. Mark Aston says pick Ruddy, Dendoncker, and then the strongest team. We can win this thing. Craig, as I said, Craig Davis, then former Wolves star, Craig Dawes. I'd be surprised if he did, but I want a strong team. Be nice to have a good run in the cup. But yeah, I think that's from everything that I've heard or listened to or watched over the last couple of weeks. It's been, let's go for a cup run, because, and I think Tim Spears mentioned it last night in their podcast, was that we've beaten 2 of the top 6. 2 of the top 6. We've taken points off United and Arsenal. It's only Liverpool who've beaten us, and Tottenham as well. We've played them twice. So there's definitely a possibility that we could go on a decent cup run if we can get through this round. We can beat Liverpool, which is, I think, a tough ask, and then a favourable home ties, or maybe away ties, I think, because we haven't done particularly well at home recently. I agree with what you said in the Crystal Palace rundown. I think we should go for a cup run. We're so close to confirm staying up. Neil Lewis has gone back to a video I put up a couple of days ago now, talking about the pre-match light show, which perhaps we can talk about as well. Just saying about how get rid of the fireworks and the light show for the Liquidator and some chanting. More effort like the Tottenham second half and like the Liverpool and Man City showed. And Dendoncker definitely. I think I'd be surprised if Dendoncker doesn't start really on tomorrow night. I think from what we've seen of him so far, he's played 3 whole. No, he hasn't played 3 whole games. He played both games in the League Cup. He came on for 10 minutes or so against Chelsea, and then played the first half or first hour against Tottenham. I think he looked quite good. He looked quite mobile. I quite enjoyed watching him play. He runs very strange. It's like he's got a pole all the way up his back. Do you think we'll have a chance against Man City, as they will give us space to run into? Well, no, I don't think so. I think Man City, they've had their blip for the season. They had it slightly later last year, if you remember that little time where they got knocked out of the FA Cup and the Champions League and lost to Man United. That little spell, sort of March time, in February, March. I think they've had that now, and they will go on, and I think City will win the league. I think it's going to be. I hope it comes down to that last game of the season, and Liverpool need to beat us, and we nick a point or something. I think it'd be fantastic. I'd love it. Home atmosphere across all the Premier League teams is pretty bad. I think ours is probably one of the best home atmospheres. But yeah, you are right. I remember when we went to Crystal Palace back in October, and we were singing "Where's Your Famous Atmosphere?" Well, then they came to us on Wednesday night and were singing "Is This a Library?" I think it's a very common thing in the Premier League, in that lots and lots of tourists come and fill up the seats, or lots of plastic fans, or lots of everybody see this sliding down and down and down. We're just trying to sort it out. Again, this is a disaster. Sorry, this is pretty badly organised, but again, it's kind of just a test. This just to see how the new setup can work. To be honest, the first match I was able to go to was Crystal Palace the other day, and the light show was the best part. We played awful. Yeah, my auntie took a class of young, I think they were, I can't remember how old they were, 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, primary school children, to the Leicester League Cup match. And again, she was sceptical about all of that sort of stuff, the pre-match entertainment beforehand. But then watching the children enjoy it, that's who it's for. And I suppose the casual fans, or the fans who don't go often, it's another element of entertainment, isn't it? So, yeah, I'm not a big fan. Oh, well, occasionally it works. It's a good and it's an entertaining start to some of the games, but not every single one. I mean, we're going to, if we would have been playing Forest Green Rovers tomorrow night, would we still have a big light show and all that sort of stuff? It doesn't. And then we lose to Forest Green Rovers. It looks ridiculous, doesn't it? But anyway, that's all crazy. Right, if Tammy Abraham joins, would you play him and Jimenez together? Sorry, just come back to the Welsh rugby. No, not at all. I had to pretend to enjoy it for a couple of years, but no, I don't like it. Don't follow it at all, really. If Tammy joins, would you play him and Jimenez together? No, because that's no, because when Jimenez gets played out wide, it doesn't. He's not as effective as when he's playing through the middle. I think he works really, really well down the middle and works really hard. And it would be a shame to just shove him out onto the right wing to accommodate somebody like Tammy Abraham. That being said, I think Tammy Abraham would be a good addition on loan. I haven't actually spoken much about this since all the rumours have been flying about. I did a video the day that the news all broke earlier on in the week, but then the day I did that, I think was the day of the Crystal Palace game, and then on that day there was, yes, he's definitely coming, no, he's not coming, Villa don't know anything about it, Chelsea said he's not for sale, but it seems as if now it is actually going to happen from what I can gather together from all the different news outlets. Still think Neves would be better suited to the number 10 role behind the front two. I just think he's wasted playing on the halfway line. Interesting. Because Neves is quite a defensive player, defensive-minded player, I think. He does a good job of breaking up play and stuff. I don't see him as a number 10. He doesn't get into the box. He doesn't get into those positions very often. I think Moutinho does that a bit better. So it'd be. But I think it's interesting at such a young age. It's worth trying different things with Neves. Why couldn't Spurs give us more tickets in a 90,000 seater stadium? Because they don't have 90,000 tickets on sale every game anyway, because of certain policing aspects. Although I did notice that they had stewards around the whole ground, even for the bits that were closed. So I don't know, but you're only allowed 10%, I think it is, or 5%. 5%, I think it is, of the overall attendance. So yeah, that's why we only allowed 3,000. I asked Finners this. In fact, I was watching Huss when you asked this question. But what do you think about Scottish and English League ever coming together like the Dutch and Belgian League? It would mean a hell of a lot of travelling. Can you imagine if you're a Plymouth fan or Southampton or Brighton or one of those teams down the south coast, and you've got to play team? I don't even know where the Scottish teams are geographically, but it would mean an awful lot of travelling for teams like that. I think the only team really that could compete in the Premier League, I'm not even sure they would be able to do that, would be Celtic. Because when they go into Europe, they get battered quite often. So, but then you look at the rest of the Scottish League, in particular the lower Scottish divisions, it'd just be a pile-up of, you'd be playing, I don't know, 50-odd fixtures in a season. I don't think it'd be worthwhile. I don't know how big the Dutch and the Belgian leagues are, but I imagine that they're smaller than the English and the Scottish leagues combined. I hope that answers your question there, Hus. Personally, don't arrive in time to see the lights. How many other fans is that true for? Nigel, I don't know. Can't count the empty seats in the 5 minutes before kick-off. Phil, we need a proper striker. Thing is, with our forward three, they can interchange from centre to left to right. Yeah, I think Jimenez is probably the striker. If you're going to say, I'd say he plays through the centre more than the other two. And if it's Cavalier or Costa or Jota, they all seem to interchange across the left and right positions, but they don't. Well, Jota sometimes goes in the middle, but more often than not, it's those two wide players that switch. Yeah. Is Ruddy better than Patricio at distribution? I think I'm better than Patricio at distribution at the moment. He's very, very poor at present. Yeah. I think the problem is he's trying to pass it out to Doherty. It's Doherty more often than Johnny. He's passing it out right out to the wings. It's a very, very difficult pass. I think and I think that's down to Nuno possibly. I think they've got to give him more options. Just a player coming short, or we haven't got a target man per se, but Jimenez would be able to win a header, I think, against most centre midfielders or centre backs in the division. So that's something that I think we definitely need to improve on. But I don't think Ruddy's particularly better at it. I think that we've just seen the wrong pass. Are Rangers or Celtic any better than the Championship teams? Don't think so. No. Rangers certainly would be a Championship team at the moment. In the last 6 years or so, they've only just now recovering from their relegations and all that sort of stuff. They've beaten Celtic for the first time in 6 years now, but I'd say they're probably a mid-range Championship team. I mean, it's interesting. It's been obviously something that's been talked about for years and years and years. But what would happen then is that the Welsh League would say, "Well, we want to have a go at this. We want to join in." But the Welsh League, having watched it quite a number of, 3 years when I was at university watching Carmarthen Town, is worse than my local team, Gornal Athletic, or Wolverhampton Casuals or AFC Wolverunians. Out of interest, did anybody go to AFC Wolverunians yesterday against Warsaw Wood? Hi Zane, good to see you. Hopefully going to the match on tomorrow. Gibbs White, Sace, I think Gibbs White will definitely start tomorrow. Nigel, I'm not sure about Sace. I think he may be rested for Dendonka. Don't forget to drop a like on the stream as well, boys and girls. Let's get that number up as quickly as we can. See if we can get it up to 15 before 22 minutes. That'd be amazing. Why the ticket price is so expensive, I even think that Liverpool fans will have the better atmosphere as they have sold out their allocation. From what I've overheard at the match is that people have said that the gate receipts get split 50-50 for a league for an FA Cup game, and Liverpool were reluctant to accept anything other than their top price because they knew that they could sell out their allocation, and that's what I don't know how true that is, but I think that's possibly true. Liverpool asked for it, and Nigel's just answered that question. Sorry, Nigel. I hope Molineux expansion talks get underway this summer. I think, from what I understand, the talks are already underway. I think whether I overheard somebody talking about it, I can't remember, in the Arsenal game, somebody behind or in front of me was talking about the ground. The plans for the ground are like ready to go, and they just need permission from the council, I think, and they weren't going to go for that until January, because I think at the time, beginning of November, still quite early in the season. We were in the middle of that dodgy little run. If we'd have lost a couple more games, it would have been we could have been looking at a relegation battle, and you don't have then a big stand getting relegated, because we've learned from that mistake, haven't we? But yeah, from what I understand, talks with the council are underway soon, if not now. I'll speak to the people I know, the council, see what they know. The target for Patricio is usually Doherty, and we try and pick up the second ball. Yeah, we've got a bit of a problem with passing to people's heads as well. It's like Neves will spray one out to Doherty on the right wing, but it would be to his head. He's got to try and control it with his head and stuff, and it doesn't often come work. Gibbs White and Jimenez are really good partners and they work well together. Yeah. Gibbs White, since the Chelsea game, what was the game after the Chelsea game? Newcastle away. Yeah, since the Chelsea game, really, I feel Gibbs White has been a little bit off the boil. Whether he sort of believed all the hype or whatever, or I don't know, but there was a moment in the Newcastle game where he tried to turn somebody, did a big pirouette kind of turn, and lost possession. And then I don't know. I think he needs a good 90 minutes on Monday night against Liverpool, getting back firing. Do I think Hawes will start? No, I don't, because he's going to be going to somewhere else, either Aston Villa or West Bromwich Albion. Personally, think that Abraham would be suitable as a target man due to his height. Well, I've heard differing reports about Tammy Abraham. My Aston Villa correspondent said that he was devastated that he would be leaving them. And he scored 16 in 20 in the Championship, but 4 of those came in one game. That never gets reported, does it? 4 of those happened in one game against Nottingham Forest in that 5-5 crazy game. So, yes, it'll be interesting to see what happens, how it happens, when it happens, if it happens. But I think a loan deal is better than having him come in permanently at this stage for 18 million. I think it'd be a very brave deal. Any more questions, kids? Bang them in the chat. Otherwise, I think I might leave it there for now. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll go through my predicted 11, shall I? We'll see who's right. So I think John Ruddy will start in goal. I think Will Norris will be on the bench as the goalkeepers because Patricio's played every single league game and took no part at all in either of the League Cup games. So, just a quick question there from Micah's. Thoughts on loans being cancelled, Bright being sent back? I think Bright's had a pretty disappointing first half of the season, really. If you look at his Instagram, he just seems to be living his life, doing not a lot of football. So, Conor Ronan's come back as well. Again, he's had an underwhelming time at Walsall. Matt Jarvis there now, of course. But yeah, possibly they've been brought back to be sold because they're not going to be brought back to play any part in the team, are they? Conor Ronan and Bright Enabakari. So to the team, I think Cody will be playing. He plays every game. I think he's only missed one game. That was after his red card at Sheffield United last year. So which game did he miss? Burton Albion away last year. That's the only game he's missed under Nuno. As far as I'm aware, correct me if I'm wrong there, please. I think Dendoncker will play instead of Bennett. Although, what game have we got next? We've got City away next, haven't we? Actually, I'll go for Bennett over Dendoncker. He's in good form. Why change it? You think? Yeah, so I go for what's up? Oh, I can't remember what I'm talking about now. Cody, Bennett, Bolly. I'd go for that same back three. Then I'd change. Johnny's not going to play. It's going to be Vinagre. Right back. Again, somebody said Oscar Burr earlier on, but we've only really got Doherty who can play in that position. So imagine it's going to be. Imagine it'd be Doherty. Midfield, then I'd play Dendoncker in midfield. I think they've highlighted him as a midfielder rather than a defender, and therefore there's no point confusing things now and playing him in different positions. Play him in the position that he needs to be in. I think Neves needs a boost of confidence, so he's going to play for me. Be Dendoncker and Neves in the middle of midfield. Then the front three, I'm going to do what they did against Chelsea and who else did they do it against? I can't remember. But it's going to be Gibbs White in the middle as that number 10. And we're going to have not Jota because I don't think he's fully fit yet. Maybe he can play on the bench for me. We're going to play Jimenez and we're going to play Cavallero up front, I think. Although Cavallero was dreadful in the game against Palace. But so was Costa and so was everybody else. So, yeah, that'll be my predicted 11 for the match tomorrow. Is Wang genuinely one for the future? Is it a ploy to get Chinese fans involved, or both? Do you think Traore would be good if he starts regularly and in his position? Like the way he was excellent against Spurs. He was good against Spurs in that first half, but I don't know. I don't rate him much at all, to be honest. Traore, I think he's very, very frustrating. Very, very difficult to watch. Frustrating to watch. He just doesn't do what you expect him to be able to do, or should be doing. It's really annoying. Really, really annoying. Unfair stick. I don't know. I don't know about that, Huss. Don't know about that. He Costa the Boster or Costa who goes Loster. Very funny, Micus. I don't know about Traore and the stick he gets. I don't know whether it's unwarranted. I don't think. I haven't seen from him. if you pay £18 million for a player, you expect a certain level of performance consistently, don't you? And we haven't seen that at all. I think we've seen a good cameo against West Ham, and then good cameos against Man City and Man United. But then, since then, the chances he missed against Arsenal were disappointing. He started at Brighton, but didn't do anything. Well, the reason the Borough fans love him is because they usually play a very dull brand of football, and they're not used to seeing somebody being able to beat a man. That's what we need as well. We need a good, we need a different way of moving the ball, which is what he brings us. But I don't know. It doesn't. Would have preferred. I assume he means Zaha, not Saha. Louis Saha, of course, retired quite a few years ago now. But yeah, Wilfried Zaha is very exciting player. I think he played really well on Wednesday night against us. He was exciting. He got fans off their seats. He beat players. He got into the box whenever he got the ball, and that's what we are lacking at the moment with our wingers. And that it's been mentioned that rather than a striker, we need to actually improve our wide options. Because we don't play with wingers, do we? Play wide attackers, and yeah, I think we could have more clinical wingers. Sorry, wide players. Anyway, I think we'll call it there, boys and girls. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you've enjoyed this video, and check back for even more content tomorrow for a match review after the game. Hopefully, if you're going, you'll make the atmosphere, because well, you've paid enough money for it, so don't just sit there and expect to be entertained. You have to get involved as well. And so yeah, there'll be a match review after the game. And if you're watching on BBC, do pay your license fee. Matt Jarvis is not available. He's on loan at Walsall, isn't he, Nigel? Do you think Johnny's good enough? To be honest, he didn't offer enough much going forward rather than cutting inside. I think Johnny's a very, very good left back. I was very critical of him when he first came in, but he's done really, really well, I think. Anyway, I'm going to call it a day there. Thank you very much for watching. There's been quite a few people on the stream straight away for just one that I've just turned on. And apologies for all the messing about at the beginning, setting this daft thing up, but hopefully you enjoyed it. I'll see you again. We'll do a Wolves Wednesday, 9 o'clock. Is it 9? Did I do it at 9 o'clock? We'll do it a bit earlier, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock on Wednesday. Bye-bye.